So 4 years ago, I had a vision that I was going to turn this area, which is a complete dead space in our yard, into this beautiful cut flower garden. And over the years, this space just stopped working. It actually never fully worked to begin with, and it just became a complete dumping ground. And the worst part is our pool is right up there, and you can absolutely see everything that's going on down here. So it's not even really a hidden space. And it has just become such a daunting task because it just has gotten so out of hand. So today I'm going to work on fixing that. Now, realistically, if I think about it, I'm not going to get to everything because, quite frankly, the entire layout didn't work and it just needs to be fixed. This is a great example of me not really having a plan going into it and thinking that it's going to be good enough and it'll be just fine in the end. And good enough doesn't work. I really should have done a much better job in terms of planning things out. The biggest thing that doesn't work is that I have 2 raised beds here with an arch that goes over it. Now on that arch, what I wanted to do last year is train clematis and a climbing rose to climb up over it. I really like the idea of the 2 of them mixing together. They're both babies now, so hopefully this year I'm going to start to see a lot more growth and start to see that vision come to actuality. The raised beds themselves at this height, I think that they're just fine, and I like the fact that they almost create an entrance into the cut flower garden. However, the problem is, as it creates an entrance and you walk in, you literally walk into a bed that's laying horizontal. All the lower raised beds need to be more vertical. So that is obviously something that is very labor intensive and probably going to be quite costly to fix. So I'm going to kick that can down the road, and that's probably going to be a fall and very early spring project of 2027. What I am going to work on today, though, is getting rid of the giant cluster of pots that I've accumulated over the years. And again, I've accumulated them without really having a plan in terms of where to put them and what to put in them. I also have some raspberries that I started growing at the far end. My son was obsessed with raspberries at that point, and he asked for a patch of them. And then very quickly, as any young child is, kind of gets over it. But the problem is, one, they never really produced properly because they just didn't get enough sun because they were shaded out by the large green giants that we have right above it. And also, these things, raspberries in general, they tend to spread underground very, very quickly. So they have now spread literally everywhere. And if I don't do something about them, they're going to completely take over this area. So I'm actually going to go ahead and place them into some of these larger containers that I have, and then move those larger containers over into the vegetable garden, which my husband likes to be in control of. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to his area. But raspberries are fine to grow in containers. And actually, I think that they're going to do a lot better because, like I said, with those roots spreading so aggressively underground, having them in the container as long as they stay watered is going to help maintain those. I also had dreams of making my own composting bins, which I still have on the task list for this year. But the problem is, because I keep putting it off and putting it off, all I end up doing is dumping a lot of the things on the ground, and clearly that now looks atrocious. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and get rid of that waste until I actually get to building that compost bin. And hopefully I get to that within the next couple of weeks. And then I can actually start my true compost pile. The other thing that has gone wrong in this area is the fact that I have started to use this for propagation purposes. So prior to my mom moving, I did end up taking a lot of cuttings for her garden and kind of just sticking things in here to root, such as hydrangeas the varieties that they don't make anymore. I also have a lot of boxwood clippings that I kind of stuck in here. The good thing is everything's rooted. The bad thing is it's completely taken over the entire space. So what I plan on doing is actually creating a hydrangea hedge here, and using those cuttings that have rooted in order to do that. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what I'm doing.
The first thing I'm tackling is these raspberries. They've completely taken over. They're popping up everywhere at this point. And the reason is they don't just grow where you plant them. They send out underground runners, so new plants start popping up just a few feet away from the original one before you even realize what's happening. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm not getting rid of them, I'm just containing them. I'm moving a section into one of these large square planters and relocating it over by the vegetable garden so it actually has a place to live. And then anything I'm not keeping, I'm just passing along to friends and neighbors. So no sense in wasting it. They spread fast enough that there's plenty to go around. Two things I have a serious love-hate relationship with: leaves on the ground and cherry blossoms. I'm not trying to start a debate here, but I still haven't figured out how to make leaves really work for me in the garden. Yes, I get it, they're amazing for the soil, but for me, they take forever to break down, and in the meantime, they end up smothering my perennials. And that's honestly the main reason why I want to build a compost bin, because I hate wasting them, but I also haven't found a way to use them directly in my garden beds that actually works. And the cherry blossoms, well, they're beautiful when they're in bloom, but the second they drop, it's a total mess. Next, I'm tackling these forget-me-nots that have basically seeded themselves everywhere all over these raised beds. They spread really easily, so once you have them, you kind of have them everywhere. But they make a really good ground cover, so instead of just pulling them out and trashing them, I'm going to move them over to the west side garden beds and let them fill in a little bit more intentionally. Now these baby hydrangeas, they honestly look like sticks right now, but you can see them starting to push new growth. These actually came from cuttings I took from my mom's garden before she moved, so they're a little sentimental to me. And that's basically what propagating is, taking a cutting from an existing plant and growing a new one from it. But you do have to be a little bit mindful, because some newer hydrangea varieties are patented, which technically means that they're not meant to be propagated. But these are older varieties that you really don't see anymore, so for me, it's just about keeping them going.
All right, I think that's going to be our stopping point for today, but it's a good starting point for what I want this space to look like. And that's really what I want to get back into, is what my original vision was. And I really thought about that while I was working, because I was so clear in terms of what that original vision was, but slowly along the way, I let other things into the space and let my original vision kind of get crowded out from the entire thing. And then I was just so overwhelmed from even starting. And I think that that can apply to so many things in life as well. It's just yet another thing that gardening teaches us. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Or if you have any thoughts on this topic yourself, also just let me know what they are. I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will see you in the garden.